hope you got your shitting pants on.
'Cause you are about to shit your pants.
Hey everybody, welcome to The Big Picture. I am Michael Sargent, and you're listening to this program on all Western New York news and radio. Guess what? First things first.
First things first. Where's your shitter? I've got a turtle head poking out. I'm not kidding. I got a crap on deck that could choke a donkey.
Well, actually, I'm kidding. But anyway, that's irregardless. Thank you very much for that kind, wonderful, warm sediment of fuzzy feeling. All right, first thing. I'm probably gonna piss some people off here, but you know what? So what? It's not like I really care. I guess it's kind of what I do, or allegedly what I do. All right, let me just lay it out to you this way. A couple of weeks ago, maybe it was 2 weeks ago, I had made a statement about the outspoken students from Parkland, Florida. But I really have to touch on this a little deeper. Because at first I wasn't for criticizing them. But the more I read from the media, which you never know if you're getting the truth or not. Some people will say it's absolutely the truth. Other people will say that it's not. But I know this much. Media, liberal media, Fox News. Yeah, exactly. They are just absolutely ridiculous. But here's what I want to get to. David Hogg. All right, first off, I got a question. Is he related to J.D. Hogg, Jefferson Davis Hogg from the Dukes of Hazzard? Because this is all kind of tying in here together for me. The liberals didn't want the Dukes of Hazzards on because, they said the show represented oppression and slavery and all this other crap, and it's surprising to me that there's so many people that don't even know what the Confederate flag stood for, what it meant. Okay, but that's irregardless. That's for another program. I'm not going to, waste this precious time that I have with you all talking about the ignorance of certain people not understanding the, Confederate flag. All right, so let's get to this. First off, I'm not a racist. A lot of this crap, I know more about this stuff than most people when it comes to, how everything took place and who's alive today. That there's just a lot of things. But first off, I'm going to give it to David Hogg. Okay, David Hogg, there's a lot of rumor going around about you right now and how you have, contacted corporate sponsors of, I guess, Laura Ingram's show, and how you have, asked them to not sponsor her anymore because she made a sarcastic statement about the colleges that you want to get into, you can't get into. Well, irregardless, all right, I think you all are just really, you're ridiculous. And I'm just going to say it right here. You guys, you kids, you condom snorting, Tide Pod eating, skinny jean, man bun wearing weirdos. Okay. Now that's not David Hogg. David Hogg seems to be a well put together, well presented, individual. However, David Hogg is not very bright when it comes to the Second Amendment and what it stands for. So first off, you decided that you wanted to be in the public eye. You wanted to be a champion for gun rights. And now you're taking a lot of heat from gun right groups, the NRA, and lots of individual people, especially teenagers who support the Second Amendment. I think that's really where things are coming down to, is the Second Amendment and the rights of the people, the constitutional rights of the people. They shall not be infringed, but they constantly are. So here's my thing. David Hogg, you put yourself in the public eye, and now it's everybody's picking on you. It's not that everybody's picking on you. You just keep saying a bunch of stupid shit that pisses people off. And guess what happens? Every time that you go and do this, you are opening yourself up to the criticism that you're receiving. Excuse me. Personally, I don't have anything against David Hogg, but I'm sure I probably would if I met him somewhere and had to listen to the shit that flies out of this toilet's mouth. And I'm saying that quite mean because I am tired of the political rhetoric, all the left agendas, and the blindness of so many people that can't see the reality of what the left side of the political spectrum wants to do with the American people. Now, that's arguable, that's disagreeable. And I'm sure, Mr. Loeffler, if you're listening to this, you will say that there's so many things that I'm saying here that are wrong. No, Mr. Loeffler, you're wrong. You get it, Colonel Sanders? You're wrong. The only difference between you and I is you come from things at a different side, and I am not pissed off at you, and I am looking to tearing your asshole apart in a political discussion because you and I come from two different places in this whole political ideology. Just remember something. I've been on my own since I was 13. I've been places that you need not be or have been. There's things that I have seen and done that some people will never really understand. They can't grasp that concept. I just know this much. Blind faith in your leaders will get you killed, and what you people have is a bunch of blind faith in your liberal, socialistic ideology, and what it will do is it will eventually get you killed. Okay?
Let the bodies hit the floor.
And that's where it's going. Okay? I'm just calling it the way it is, brother.
Brother!
We have a big frickin' problem. Mr. Hogg, you don't know what you're talking about. And just because people are starting to lash out at you for your talking points, brother, the real issue here is the fact that you're coming from a very uneducated, uninformed place, brother. And we, the American people, the conservatives, have had to put up with Barack Obama and his socialistic viewpoints and the Democrats and all their entitlement programs. We've had enough, and we don't have time for this.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
You people are not very bright. Not very bright at all. And I am sick of it. I'm saying it right out. I am sick of it. Fucking losers. So, I'm going to say this right now. David Hogg, if I really wanted to hear from you, I would personally seek you out and ask you questions. But I don't care. I don't care what your opinion is. All I know is that once again, another crazy guy comes into a school and kills a bunch of kids. And why? Because the left does not want armed resource officers in schools. But let's put it this way. It certainly is okay for a mass shooter to come into a school and kill a bunch of people. I refer back to Maryland. The issue in Maryland where an armed resource officer killed a psychopath that had ill intent in his heart and planned on killing kids. You know what? David Hogg, if I really wanted to hear from you, I would talk to you personally. I don't want to see you on CNN. I don't follow you on Twitter. I don't care what you have to say. And honestly, if I really wanted to hear from you...
Hey, if we want to hear you talk, I will shove my arm up your ass and work your mouth like a puppet. You hear me? You hear me?
That's exactly right. And for the record, I don't recall asking Mr. Hogg a thing.
I don't remember asking you a goddamn thing.
So, David, you know, I wish you well. I really do. I don't want you to think I'm hating on you or criticizing you, although it probably sounds like I am. But you know what? You and your gun control stuff, you need to put it to rest.
Get the fuck out my face with that shit.
Exactly. Get the fuck out of my face with that shit. You know, enough's enough. Keep going. Keep going left. Let's just see where this all goes. You know, what's going to end up happening is the shit is going to hit the fan one day. Do away with guns. I'm saying do away with them. We'll turn them in. We will abide by the law just like we always do. Okay? Law-abiding citizens aren't the problem here. Law-abiding gun-owning citizens aren't the problem here. The problem here is the psychopaths that get their hands on these guns and, oh, here's your talking point. Let's get rid of these guns so these psychopaths can't get a hold of them anymore. You know what? 2 words for you. One name for you. Timothy McVeigh. There's a big list here. I can go on, but most people will remember Tim McVeigh. Okay? To the McVeigh family, I'm sorry for bringing this painful memory up, but you know what? It did happen. That's the way it goes. Liberals, do away with America's guns. There's a reason why the United States hasn't been invaded. And I'm going to tell you this. Go ahead, get rid of the guns. We'll abide by the law. But most of us gun owners are hunters. We're survivalists. And we know how to get by. So while we are surviving and you people are running for your lives,
running for my life,
which is exactly what you'll do, and you can call me Islamophobe, but when the United States gets invaded, don't come to us for defense, because we will not do it. You people wanted to create the pit of misery.
the pit of misery.
You guys will have it. Just keep going with it. All right? I'm sick of this, people. I am so sick of this. I'm sick of dealing with ignorant people. I'm sick of dealing with self-righteous losers that only want to push their agenda on everybody else and force everybody else to listen their way, do things their way. Well, you know what? Everybody loves their own brand.
Oh, everyone likes their own brand, don't
everybody loves their own brand. But the problem is, when they realize the repercussions of actions, that's when they realize that their brand is really pretty stinky.
Oh, even Stink would say that stinks.
And I'm just like, I'm tired of it. I am tired of it. So.
You shut your mouth, you bastard.
Yeah, I think that's what there needs to be a lot of. Maybe I should shut my mouth, because obviously, who am I? I'm just a low-life piss-on, photographer guy that has a very strong conservative opinion about what goes on in his world, and that's okay for all you self-righteous, overly educated individuals that think that you are so much smarter than me, have the right to dictate policy. Well, there's 2 worlds out there, people. There's your world and my world. And I would really love to see how some of you liberal types would live in my world. Yeah, I guess I'm just an asshole, right? All right. We are going to take a little break here. And I'm going to appeal to your sense of, I should just go ahead and do this. Why? Because this fat bastard behind the microphone is telling me I should. We'll be right back. Thanks for listening to The Big Picture on all Western New York News and Radio.
My name's Peter Hurley, and I am a portrait photographer here in New York City. I'd say about 95% of the time I'm in my New York studio shooting. The base of my business has always been headshot photography. I'm so intrigued by the human face that it's insane. And when you take a headshot of somebody, they're right in front of you. So they've got this lens pointed at them. People change. I pride myself on my direction and what that person's conveying to the camera, and that's really what drives me every day. I was in Hawaii. I was shooting the cast and crew for Lost, and the lead painter on the job was painting this cave that they were going to use, and he was in his area with all this paint and stuff, and it had one light, and it was a fluorescent light. I used to shoot a lot with fluorescent lights. It was a fluorescent light. I was like, looked at it, and I was like, don't move. Just, that's the shot. And it's this incredible picture. It's been my favorite picture that I've taken. If I could quantify like how I got to where I am, or how I continue to grow, or what I'm seeing in my work now that I wasn't seeing years ago, it's attention to detail. You have to develop an eye, but you also have to try and figure out what are the details that you're missing, because that's where your work's going to shine. They say that it takes 10,000 hours to master anything. I don't think I've mastered direction, and I've shot over 10,000 people, so I've spent way more than 10,000 hours doing it, and I'm not even close to mastering it. I think I'll go to my grave with my camera and with my direction still not mastered. So I tell photographers, get a person in front of your camera every day and direct them, because that's really where it's going to make a difference in your portraiture.
Exactly. All right. So, see, let me lay this out to you. I'm a fan of Peter Hurley. I love the guy's work. I love the guy's energy. He's really, he's a wild man. And I've spent a lot of time, learning things from him. Some of you may or may not know I am a member of his headshot crew. I'm looking to climb up the ranks there. I'll get there. But I am pretty well versed in headshot photography. So here's what I want to lay out to you, everybody, listening today. It becomes pretty clear to me that in this day and age, there's a lot of people out there that really feel that they look terrible in pictures. And I hear it, more than what I would like. People will get in front of the lens and always say, well, I hope I don't break your camera. And boy, I hope you got a really good camera, because, I take lousy pictures. And, I hear this all the time, and it's disturbing to me, because it says that there's so many people out there that don't have very good self-esteem. And it's troubling to me, because I see people every day, and, you can look at them and think, my God, what a beautiful human being that person is. And it's not just looks, it's movement, behavior. And it's so disturbing to me to see somebody like that actually feel that they don't look good in pictures. And all I'm going to really say on the topic, everybody can take or pose for a great picture. I think that if you've been in front of a camera and you don't get a good photograph of yourself, it's not really your fault. I think it's the photographer's fault. The photographer didn't do their job. And there's people out there that do kids, and kids are generally pretty easy because the attention span is short. Now we're talking kids here, not babies. Babies are tough, but people, as a rule, when they get in front of your lens, they always have that deer in the headlight look. And some photographers are just content to take that picture. Well, I don't believe it should be done that way. I mean, I put a lot of time and effort into developing a person's look. And I think that anybody who's really worked with me on a real long-term headshot shoot, I shouldn't say it that way. I guess when people come into the studio and they want a headshot, I put them through a process. And so many people don't seem to understand that this is a process. The individual has to be comfortable with me. I have to make them comfortable with me. And then I have to get them to that point where they look beautiful, in front of the, in the photograph. Is it so hard, people, to just self-accept who you are? I think it is. And I think that to do this headshot photography, you really have to be able to connect with people or get in people's heads. And, I often say that I put them through the photography hurt locker, and that's not really the case. It's just that there is a process with this. You have to get them, you have to connect with them, you have to get them to loosen up, you got to get them to understand, that this is supposed to be fun. And we oftentimes do have fun. But the hard part is, just people accepting who they are, what they look like. I mean, human beings are they're beautiful, creatures. I mean, I've got my flaws, but, we all have that individual thing about us that makes us special to someone. And I think that, what I enjoy doing is bringing that to the forefront, showing the rest of the world who people are. It's a challenge, and it's a challenge that I rise to, and I enjoy doing. It can get a little emotional for me sometimes because I see people that come in all the time and they're absolutely breathtaking and they have no self-confidence. It really makes me wonder why. What happened here? You are a beautiful person. Why do you feel so bad about yourself? That you feel that you take bad photographs or you're ugly. I mean, I had somebody come in and say, well, I'm just ugly. And this was a younger girl. And my thought is, my God, sweetheart, you are nowhere near ugly. I have never photographed an ugly person in my life. Or at least in my opinion. Okay, well, there's a few people that have come in, some guys, boy, some of you guys are just terrible, but all kidding aside, people that come in front of, the camera and the lens, they learn to, I guess the best way is to trust me, trust me and my camera, trust what I'm doing, let me show you where we start and where you're going to end up. So here's the thing, people. Those of you out there that just feel having a photograph taken of yourself is just not worth the time because you look ridiculous or terrible, I want those people to come in, schedule an appointment, and come in and let me show you what I do. And the reason why I want those people is because I want to change the perception of photography. I want to show people there's more to this than just snapping an image and going ka-ching. There's a lot more to it. People, call. Get in here. Even if you think that there's absolutely no way that I can take a good portrait of you or a good headshot of you, trust me. I get a big thrill out of having people walk out of that studio and say, I can't believe that's me. And here's what's really exciting about all this. I've kind of teamed up with some people, a videographer, Looking Glass Media. I have a very, very talented cosmetologist, hairdresser, that is, going to be working with us on some of our photo shoots. So the beautiful part of all this is people can come in, they can get their hair did, They can get makeup done, get a makeover, and allow me to do what I do to show them how beautiful they really are. There was a photographer a couple of years ago that did something called Find Your Beautiful, and it was cool. It was a very good presentation, and I'm sure it's done, quite well for her, in her business. But what she's doing is something that I've always done. It's just people have to come in and experience for themselves. So we're almost at show's end here, but I played that clip of Peter Hurley talking about his craft with Canon and the Explorers of Light, just to give you an idea of how powerful this actual genre of photography is. It's not just always a portrait. A headshot is personal, and there's a lot of great photographers out there, but only the best of the photographers can actually do the headshots. And I've seen it, that's not a bad photo. But when you can capture an emotion, a distinctive look, and I'm sorry to giggle, but I was just thinking of one that I just recently did where a gentleman had given me this odd look because I had said something off color, as a joke. And then the shots immediately after, that we both had burst out in laughter. And, those were some of the best shots we ever took because it was just pure, natural emotion. And this is what I'm saying to people. If you are the type to feel that you take a crappy photograph, you should not be in photos. You should never have a photo taken yourself because you're ugly or you're worthless or whatever the case is. You are the people that I want to come into my studio and I want to work with, because I want to change your perception of photography and photographers. You're not going to hear me say that I am passionate about this, because I hate that term. It's so overplayed. I'm a passionate photographer. You know what? I don't remember asking you a goddamn thing.
I don't remember asking you a goddamn thing.
Exactly. Thank you, Samuel. That clears that up for me. What I'm saying is, come in, get it done, learn about this, see what it's about, and I promise you, you will understand the experience. You will understand that your perception was totally wrong about photography, what a photographer actually is able to do. All right, I've done all the talking that I'm going to do this week. You got a good mix of everything. The craziness, the political blah, 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 at the start of this show. But those of you that are actually hearing this part of the show, this is who I really am. I am a photographer. I love doing it. It's my job. I'm not going to sit here and tell you I'm passionate about it. I will let you experience that for yourself. But get in here. Get in here. Those of you that feel that you do not take a good photograph. You're no good in pictures. I'm going to prove you wrong. All right. That's all I got. People, thanks for listening to The Big Picture. I am Michael Sargent. I'm out.
Here we go. Come with me. There's a world out there that we should see. Take my hand. Close your eyes.